Hey everybody, Erica here from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. On Mondays is the day that I remind you of what I do and where you can find me. Um, and so Here we are. So I use Lenormand, which is a 36 card divination system. It's a European system from the late 1700s to the early 1800s. That's when it was created. And I've become something of an expert at it to the extent that I wrote a book about it. And so, if you'd like to learn to read the way I read, the book is called The Language of Lenormand or Lenormand or Lenormand. You can pronounce it however you want. And this is available wherever books are sold. Obviously, we have the soft cover version. There's also a audio version as well as a Kindle version. So wherever books are sold, you can find that. And if you'd prefer to read it in French, the title is Découvrez le langage secret du Lenormand, which means Discover the Secret Language of Lenormand. I have a deck which is called Erica's Lenormand of Hope, and I'll put in the show notes, I'll give you the address for where you can order this deck. There are many, many beautiful Lenormand decks out there. Mine is just one, but I love mine. I'm very proud of it. And it is available only through La Panthère Studio, like the Panther, but in French, La Panthère Studio. But I will put that address in the show notes as well. I also have a course that is pre-recorded videos that you can take on your own time and at your own pace. And that's in the links attached to every video that I do, as is the link for the book and the deck. And I'm going to put up a course, I think, a live course in for October. Details to come. And if you want to take a course in real time with me, it'll probably run for 5 weeks, 2 hours each week. And I think it'll be a lot of fun to do it in person. But anyway, that's what I always do on Mondays. I remind you of what my offerings are. I do private readings. Half an hour and an hour are the time slots. And so if you send me an email to Lenormand with Erica um, at gmail.com, I will get that, or in the company of cards at gmail.com. Either one, we can set up a time for a reading. August is starting to fill up, so it may not be till September, but nevertheless, it's an option if you'd like a reading with me. Okay. Um, So, a couple of things. First off, I wanted to talk about the Todd Blanche situation. We see that, in fact, it looks like he will be moved on out of committee into the full Senate for a vote. And I had said that he would not be moved forward. This is a good object lesson in the mutability of things, meaning the changeability of things. If you saw the movie The Butterfly Effect, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, it's a really great movie. The point being that I can see what things look like in a sort of snapshot kind of a manner, but everyone has free will, and one person can make a decision, and that can change the course of events. So what we have now is Todd Blanche. There were several conditions that Senator Tillis and Senator Cornyn had placed on him. The one had to do with Tillis's had to do with the victims, the Epstein victims. He wanted Blanche to meet with them. At first, Blanche wouldn't do it, but then we know that he did do it. We also know that the survivors with whom he met did not find it a satisfactory meeting at all. They thought he was brusque and rude and dismissive. But apparently, that didn't bother Tillis. You know, we know that these are two senators who have said all along they really wanted to get to yes on this vote, which means that it didn't take much for them to get to yes. In other words, it doesn't matter that the meeting was an insult to the survivors. What matters is simply that he met with them, and then Tillis was satisfied. Cornyn hung his hat on this slush fund because even though we know Blanche had said the slush fund was dead, he refused to put his name to something saying that. Now, what has happened is that they've sort of split the baby on that one. And so, what they've said is that there's still, well, that in terms of the slush fund of money that the felon could give to, for example, January 6th rioters, they're not that's not a thing. Well, no, of course it's not a thing because what will happen is the money will be taken from elsewhere. I mean, Ashley Babbitt's family got a payout, you know, so that they will find the money to give to those people so that they stay, you know, supportive of the felon. But the other piece was that the felon uh, didn't want to be penalized in any tax way for tax payments that he should have made. He should have made, his children should have made, his businesses should have made. And apparently, he will be given that special dispensation. Apparently, Cornyn and Tillis will be just fine with the felon not having to pay any back taxes in the way that you and I would have to pay back taxes. So it seems that Tillis and Cornyn have bent over backwards and have now seen fit to say that they will support Blanche's nomination to get out of committee. Now, again, our consolation prize, such as it is that Blanche would have stayed the Attorney General no matter what, whether it had been acting or permanent, he would have been in that seat. I think more to the point, what we need to take away from this is the fact that even though Cornyn and Tillis were humiliated by the felon, to the extent that they lost their bid to keep their seats because of the felon refusing to support them, apparently they are gluttons for punishment and have said to him, abuse me more. We'll give you whatever you want. I love it. Abuse me more. So if we wanted a fairy tale ending where these two senators would, either because it was the right thing to do or because they felt that it would be payback for the felon jamming them up, if we thought that they would save the day, that is not going to happen. The only day saving that's going to be done in this whole thing will be by us at the ballot box. So, again, I read that he would not go forward, but things have changed, and Cornyn and Tillis have folded. And so it looks like, in fact, Blanche will advance. Again, materially, it changes not much. Um, Also, we know that Andy Beshear of Kentucky has said, and actually he's probably correct, he will not be calling for any special election. If he were to do it, it would have to be now, because if he waited, it would be too late, too close to the actual election. And Andy Beshear's point is, if I call an election in Ruby Red Kentucky would elect a Republican. And it's better for Democrats if McConnell's seat remains vacant. Therefore, I am not calling a special election. Now, the Senate is about to go on recess. They will come back in September. probably by September, McConnell will also continue not to be back. Um, but, I think that situation's just going to stay status quo. Personally, I think he is either on ice or on some machine keeping him alive, but maybe he'll have some miraculous rising from the dead or miraculous recovery, and we will see him. But he was not going to be up for reelection, if you recall, in November. So, theoretically, we may never hear from him. We'll have the election in November, and then whoever the senator is, that'll be the next senator from Kentucky. So, beyond sort of curiosity, um, I think that the whole Mitch McConnell thing is kind of a, pardon the pun, dead issue, and that seat will stay vacant until the November election. Um, I do want to talk about elections. There's a couple that I want to look at um, because there are primaries coming up. But before I do that, I would like to look at this situation of the reflecting pool. We know that Jeanine Pirro, who is the attorney for DC, for former New Yorker judge, etc., very close ally of the felon. She said she had the charges against the Olympian who was accused of vandalizing the pool, which he did not do. Anyway, she had those charges dropped because, in fact, the pool was not vandalized. We know that the contractor, the no bid contractor who did the job, did a shoddy job, and that's why the pool's all jacked up. Anyway, Jeanine Pirro, having dropped those charges, infuriated the felon who excoriated her in front of the press today, saying that, he doesn't know what's gotten into her. She folded like an umbrella. Um, her decision was wrong. And there is speculation that he may fire her. I really don't care one way or the other whether he fires her. I mean, he could fire her and then rehire her. I don't know. I'm more interested in what she's thinking right now. Um, that's what I want to know. I mean, I don't like Jeanine Pirro. I remember her from her New York days, but she did the right thing by dropping those charges. I hope this person sues for, wrongful accusations or whatever, being falsely charged. But at any rate, I want to know how she's feeling now about the felon, about her job. I'm very curious. What is Jeanine Pirro thinking right now? So I mean, everything he touches dies. If you think that you're going to be the exception to the rule, the joke's going to be on you. So I'm just curious as to whether she's still on board with him and that if he fires her, she says, thank you for um, the punch in the face. I love you, sir, anyway. I mean, who knows what she's going to say? Whether she herself will be angry. She's got a temper on her, Jeanine Pirro. I remember from her New York days. I'm looking for the older woman because she is an older woman. And I just want to know what she's thinking. We know that apparently Pam Bondi, when she got fired, cried and begged to be kept on. And the only courtesy that they extended was letting her hightail it back to Florida before they made the announcement. But anyway, let's look and see what Jeanine is thinking. So here's Jeanine. She would not be happy to be a Black woman, but oh well. And okay. I may pull clarifiers, but not quite yet. I may not. We'll see. All right. We have the dog. We have the mice. We have Janine. We have the whip. And we have the tree. Now, I will say that their relationship, their friendship, her loyalty to him, and really his to her, although he's not loyal to anybody. But anyway, their friendship is of long, long standing. It's decades and decades old. So that's something to bear in mind. This is our first card. It's the card for friendship. But that friendship has been eroded. The mice eat away at the card before. So she does not appreciate being um, called out unfairly. She doesn't appreciate having been pulled into the situation in the first place and having to seek an indictment against somebody who was innocent, when all along it was the shoddy workmanship of that, person given a no bid contract that the felon may very well have gotten a kickback on, allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only. But the friendship is frayed. We've got Janine in the middle. The fourth card is the whip, and I can mirror the fourth card with that second card. I think that Janine, who, again, if you're from New York, Jeanine Pirro is no shrinking violet. And I think she probably gives as good as she gets, including in this situation. I know that he called her on the carpet. She was at the White House this evening. I am sure that the conversation was a contentious one. So I'm going to pull some clarifiers on Janine and also on the whip. And let's see what else we get. Okay. So here's Janine. Clarifiers are the stork, the felon, and the ship. I think with the stork in the middle, I think the conversation was contentious. We know because of the whip, and we know because of what we heard him say about her and this whole situation. But here she is wanting to make nice. Stork, positive change. She wants to kind of make nice with him. Now, the ship is an interesting card, and I'm not sure whether it's about her saying, "Okay, I'll leave. Um, we'll part amicably." I think it could be that because the ship is moving away. Um, but not necessarily. The ship is moving. That's the thing. I don't know that I want to necessarily say it's moving away. She made him look bad, so she may have to go. All right, we have this whip because I'm telling you, they had harsh words were exchanged back and forth. The clarifiers are the moon, the star, and the lily. Why is he mad? Because she essentially cast aspersions on his reputation by saying there was no vandalism. You picked a contractor that you wanted a kickback from who didn't know how to do the job or did the job on the cheap so that that's more kickback money for everybody, right? So he's saying to her, you made me look bad. But we have the star and the lily. And again, this is the card for hope, and this is the card for the future, and this is the card for peace. And I think that I can mirror this whip card, which is these harsh words that they exchanged. with the Lily. And so everybody said what they had to say, and then they made peace. Now again, whether that means she leaves or not, I don't know. Hard to tell what that ship is meaning. But they will make peace, or they're making peace right now. Again, they have had a relationship, a friendship that goes back decades and decades. Clarifiers for this are the birds, the sun, and the garden. They know that everybody's watching this to see how it turns out. And so I think they will make nice for the public. She'll say something and that will placate him, and he'll say, "Oh, I know she's too old to have had her period, but maybe she had her period and she wasn't thinking right when she did what she did. I forgive her." Because it looks like for public consumption anyway, they will maintain the friendship. She will continue to be loyal. This is what he does. He hypnotizes people. And then even when they think about their own best interests, they get confused and they think their best interests are to serve his best interests. Cornyn, Tillis, Blanche, Blondie, Bondi. I think Pierrot, tough New Yorker that she is, mm, I think she still um, sees her loyalty to him being advantageous to her. I'm not sure that it is. So you know what I want to do? I think I want to look for the ship and have that be the focus card and ask the cards, what does the ship mean? Is she leaving, or is she going to, you know, keep it up, keep going, and they'll sweep this off the table and move forward together because they're better together than they are apart. I don't know. I want to see, what is that ship all about? Does she go? Does she move forward and stay in her position? Will whatever she said, I mean, she has to know how to work him with words, or else they would not have been friends for as long as they have been, right? She has to know what he wants to hear, what he needs to hear in order to placate him. All right, so we're going to look for the ship and just see what's around it. By the time I finish this video, who knows, she may have already been fired or left or whatever, but I'm just curious. All right, so I'm looking for the ship. If you've not liked, shared, subscribed, typed, I'd really appreciate it if you'd do all of the above because it's what helps the channel grow. Thank you for all that anniversary good wishes. This is the yesterday, or the first was the channel's second birthday. So thank you. I'd love to get to 50,000 by January, by the end of the year. Wouldn't that be great? So you can help with that. All right, here's our ship. Which way is Jeanine Pirro's ship going? Hmm. Okay, interesting. We have the birds, the house, the ship, the child, and the whip. You know, I really, I don't know that he's going to fire her. I mean, how blatant would that be? Not that he's not given to doing blatant, stupid stuff, but here's what I think. Um, there's a lot of talk going on about this in the White House. Is she a loyal soldier or not? Because that was not what he considers a loyal soldier move. We have the ship in the middle, but then we have the child and again the whip. I think he really took her to the woodshed, as they say. I think he cursed her up and down. That's what I think he did. And said, if you want to stay, um, you're going to have to listen to this. But I'm going to pull clarifiers on that ship. Mm. No wonder I was not sure whether the ship was coming or going, because the clarifiers for the ship are the ring, the moon, and the clouds. Because here's the thing, I think Pirro has a decision to make. Remember, I said that the dog is loyalty? Well, it is, but so is the ring. The ring is like a contract. And she's got to think about this. Is she willing to be loyal to him at the expense of her own reputation? Clouds. So I think that, let's say he said, you know, let me put you over my knee and spank you because you did a bad thing, child, and whip. You made me look bad, Jeanine. So I have to make you now look bad. I have to diminish you in the eyes of the public. She's a proud woman and she's a tough New Yorker, Italian. And I don't think she will take his treating her this way well. I don't think so. So I can see her quitting if he doesn't fire her. If nothing else, this incident will have put a bad taste in both their mouths. So that think of it as a first shot over the bow because there'll be more. Uh, like I said, I can see her giving as good as she's getting. Like, you dumb idiot, why would you hire that guy? And why did you hire that guy to do that job? Because it wasn't quality work. And then to go and accuse somebody of vandalizing, like they're deep sea diving with the box cutters. What are you talking about? I mean, I could see her really giving it to him. And of course, in the end, he knows she's right. He knows she's right. So this is quite a battle of equals in some ways, in terms of their sort of New York tough guy personas, both of them. I think she will not appreciate being talked down to. I also think that historically, the felon is the kind of person who is mad at somebody and then makes it very clear and then welcomes them back into the fold. I mean, I think Michael Cohen is example A of that because Michael Cohen allegedly is back in the felon's camp. He paid his dues, you know, in felon's eyes. He came crawling back, and the felon historically welcomes people back in that kind of situation. So I don't know. I feel like the cards are in Pirro's favor to do what she wants to do here. And I'm not sure. Um, I mean, if she gets fired, fine, but she could decide to walk. So, all right. I wanted to look quickly at a couple of races uh, for Senate. Um, we have tomorrow the Minnesota, I think. Is it? Which one is it? Uh, Michigan. I think it's Michigan. Hold on, I got to make sure. I get my M's confused. Michigan, yeah. Okay, there's the Michigan primary that's tomorrow. And this is well it's a yeah, it's a primary, Democratic primary. They will face whoever wins will face Mike Rogers, who's the Republican candidate. So the two candidates, it's a very contentious primary. The two candidates are Haley Stevens. She is a moderate Democrat versus Dr. Abdel El Sayed, who would be the first Muslim senator, and he's a progressive. So I want to look at that primary tomorrow and see which of them will be facing Mike Rogers, the Republican, in the fall. So I'm going to draw five cards for Haley Stevens, the moderate, and then five cards for Abdel El Sayed, the doctor, progressive. So this is Haley Stevens, and this is for Abdel El Sayed, progressive doctor running against her. Very interesting. For Haley Stevens, we have child, clouds, our friend the ship, scales, and mice. These do not look like auspicious cards. Again, she's a moderate, and in this day and age, especially in a place like that state, I think moderates are not necessarily so well received. Child, that's sort of a small card, we'll call it. A lot of money's been poured into her campaign, by the way, by establishment Democrats. But we have the second card is the clouds. Clouds are doubts. Doubts about what? About her moving forward. And I think that when voters do a cost benefit analysis on her candidacy, she comes up short. Now, for the progressive candidate, it is the season of the progressive. Dr. Abdel El Sayed, we have the house, we have the moon, we have the star, the mountain, and the dog. So again, a lot of money has been poured into his opponent. Um, but I think people like him. He's about all about affordability, housing, healthcare for everyone, etc. So people see him as a friend of the people. Um, the moon, remember that the moon is the card for reputation, right? Now I can mirror it with the fourth card, which is the mountain. Because he's Muslim, he has to deal with all the crap that Zohran Mamdani has had to deal with the Democratic establishment, the anti-Muslim crap. They're showing themselves, those establishment Democrats. But again, this is the season of the progressive, and the center card is the star. I think that Dr. El Sayed will win that primary against Haley Stevens. All right, the other race I wanted to look at is not coming up for a little bit. It's on the 18th of August, and it's the Florida race. So there is already a Republican incumbent uh, for November, and that's Ashley Moody. But the primary is between two interesting candidates, Angie Nixon and Alex Vindman. So you know the Vindman name, right? The Vindmans were thrown out of the military or made to retire early, and um, the felon really had a bee in his bonnet about the Vindmans. Alex Vindman has only lived in Florida for 3 years. Angie Nixon is a black woman, mother of five. She's already a state house representative, very well respected. Vindman's wife attacked Angie Nixon for her sartorial choices, meaning the clothes that she wore. And Angie Nixon just took that and ran with it in a really amusing way. It was inappropriate, and I'm going to say it was racist. Why would the wife of a candidate talk about a candidate opponent of her husband's clothes? It's just, ew, it's ugly, it's cheap in the way that, in that bitchy way that women can be with each other. And it's disrespectful, I think, of Angie Nixon. So I don't know if Alex Vindman has had a word with his wife or whether he knew she was doing it or how he feels about what she did, but I thought it was tacky as heck. Angie Nixon, again, is the progressive candidate, where Alex Vindman is the more establishment candidate. So I will pull um, 5 cards for Angie Nixon and 5 cards for Alex Vindman. This is the Florida Senate primary. We already know who the Republican is. It's Ashley Moody, who's the incumbent senator. Okay, so oops, sorry. So Angie Nixon, we have the tree, child, the key, the scales, and the sun. The tree, the child, the key, the scales, and the sun. Even before looking at Vindman's cards, Angie Nixon's going to win. First of all, she's been a Floridian her entire life, on the one hand. On the other hand, she is one of the, members of this up and coming um, progressive breed. Up and coming. The fact that we have the key in the middle, it's a yes card. It's a big yes card. The voters will do their due diligence, right? Cost benefit analysis. And then she gets the best card in the deck, the sun. Just for the sake of looking, let's look at Alex Vindman. Yeah, he has the bear standing for his bully wife who tried to bully Angie Nixon, the crossroads, the snake, the clouds, and the garden. So this is that bullying behavior. It's very, very low class and tacky. People are going to choose someone different from him. He is not somebody off the beaten path. He's an establishment Democrat. The snake is in the middle for him, where the key is in the center for Angie Nixon. Snake's not good. We have the garden, the people doubting him. He gets clouds where she gets sun. So I predict on that August 18th, in that August 18th primary, I predict that Angie Nixon will win over Alex Vindman. Okay, so I think that's it. I don't know if I'm going to come on tomorrow. I'm taking a week off. I'm going to the East Coast to spend time with my family there, and I will be gone for a week. So tomorrow I will, before I pack, I will be over on Substack writing my weekly article. I don't know what it's going to be about, but Substack is the place where I use Lenormand and I use tarot. Some people don't know that I do read tarot, but I read Lenormand tarot and an African oracle called the Adinkra. And I have those 3 oracles have a conversation, and then they basically give me what I'm supposed to write that week. So that's over on Substack. I would love if you would join me there. It is where I do free readings for paid subscribers. To be a paid subscriber on my Substack costs $5 a month or $50 a year. But you can read me without paying. You can do that as well. Anyway, and then Wednesday, there will be no conversation with Lena from Lena Down Under next week, but we will be back a week from Wednesday. So the next time that you see me will be with Lena on Wednesday night, the 12th. Unless something jumps off, I mean, I will have my phone with me, and if you know what happens, I will be sure to come on. I'll have a deck of cards with me. But short of that, this is my little 1 week break in the summer. So I will see you when I return from that. All right, everybody, you take care. Have a great Monday night.